Hey guys, welcome to Selective Preparation Power Mathematical Reasoning Test 29. So we're just going to go through some questions. Let's just jump onto it straight away. Question 1. 3 ducks and 4 chickens weigh 76 kilograms. 4 ducks and 3 chickens weigh 78 kilograms. All ducks weigh the same and all chickens weigh the same. That doesn't mean that ducks and chickens weigh the same, okay guys? That means that ducks separately, each of them weigh the same, and chickens separately, each of them weigh the same, okay? What is the weight of one duck and one chicken? Okay, to solve this question, go off with what we know. So we know I'm gonna let ducks be denoted by D and let chicken be denoted by C. Okay, so if three ducks plus 4 chickens in the first line, guys, weigh 76 kilograms, and 4 ducks plus 3 chickens, or 3C, is 78 kilograms, right? All the ducks weigh the same, blah, blah, blah. Great, this is the two first options that we have with information. I'm going to label this option A and B, and you'll see why. Now, I have these two sets of equations, but I still don't know what to do with it. Okay, and here, guys, I'm going to tell you guys how to sort this out. So, in a process called simultaneous equations, right? By using simultaneous equations, we're going to solve this. First, I'm going to have to make the D's the same, and I'll show you why later. So, in order to make 4D and 3D into some sort of the same term, I need to find a lowest common multiple of these two, okay? And what is the lowest common multiple of these two? Let's see. It's 12, right? Because 4, 8, 12, and we have 3, 6, 9, and then 12, right? So let's do it this way. In order for B, or option B, to turn into 12D, what do we need to times? Times 3. So we're going to say option B times 3. And how about option A, guys? Have a look at option A. 3D. What do we need to times to 3D to make it 12D? We need to times 4. Okay? So if we do that to both top and bottom, let's see. For B, let's start with A. 8 times 4. 3D times 4 is 12D. But remember, since it's an equation, we have to do it to the whole thing. 4 times 4C is 16C. And that must equal to 76 times 4, which is 304. Okay? See, again, all I did there was put a bracket around these whole thing. Times 4 times 4. That's all I did. Okay? Anyways, let's look at B, option B. If I times 3 to both sides of the equation, it's going to be 12D as well. Plus, what's 3C times 3? 9C, and that's going to be 78 times 3 on the other side, which is 278. It's going to be 234. Okay, just like that. Now that we have these two equations, I'm going to tell you or show you why we did that. Because, look guys, once we have these two equations, if I minus top and bottom, I actually get to cancel 12D's out. Okay, so if I do that, then I get 12D minus 12D, which is 0, plus 16C minus 9C, which is 7C, equals to 304 minus 234, which is 70. Can you see why I did that? It's so that I can eliminate the terms with D, right? So that I'm left with one term as C, so that I can work out what C is individually. Now that I've worked out C, or chickens weigh 10 kilograms, right? How about the ducks? How do we find that out? Well, we sub it back, or substitute it back. And I'm going to write it down. Substitute, or sub, C equals to 70, oops, not 70, 10. 10 into option A. Let's do that, okay? And we'll continue the working out here. If we sub C equals to 10 into A, right? Let's look at A. 3D plus 4C. What do we know C to be now? 10 equals to 76, okay? I could have substituted it into B. It doesn't really matter. I just chose A just randomly. If 3D plus 4 times 10, which is 40, equals 76, then 3D equals to, actually, let me not skip a step. 3D plus 40 then equals to 76, right, guys? Then what? Then 3D must be minus 40 from both sides, 36, and therefore D is going to be 36 divided by 3. What's that? 12. And so now that we found duck weight, okay? And what is the question? We don't end it there. The question asks, what is the weight of one duck and one chicken? Otherwise, what is, therefore, D plus C, or ducks plus chicken, equals to 10 plus 12 kilograms. Therefore, D plus C, or ducks plus chicken, equals to 22 kilograms. Okay? So guys, from here on out, I want you guys to be familiar with using simultaneous equation. Okay? And I'm going to write this here. It's spelled simultaneous equations. And this is one of the harder sections to know in maths. Okay? But once you get this down, it's going to be really, really useful in your questions. Now, we'll have another example of that later, so I'm not going to go too deep into this one, but hopefully you understand the process that I went through here. All right, question number 2, factorizing. And now, why did I say that? Question 3, let's read it. The drawing shows 3 circles that share a common center point. Which equation can be used to find the approximate circumferences of the circles together? Okay, for this one, we're basically, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find the circumferences of this circle, and this big circle, right, guys? And we need to find the sum for that, or find the expression of that sum. So that would mean, let's start with the inner circle, plus middle, plus outer is what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for, right? What is the inner? Well, we know that the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. And in this case, the little inner circle, what is the radius of the inner circle? It says 8 centimeters. Plus, now, here we need to be careful because, yes, it's 2 pi r, but the radius, guys, is actually not given. And remember, this distance is not given. So, we need to find this out. Luckily, we have this notion that the whole diameter is 60. If the diameter is 60, and I'm going to do it in blue, if d equals to 60, then radius equals to 30, right? Or this length. If that length is 30, and we already have 12 and 8 as these lengths, then we can find out this length by subtracting 12 and 8, which is 10. Okay? So we've worked out, oops, that's not what I want to rub out. So we've worked out the fact that this length is 10. But can we use that for our radius in the middle? No. Why? Because remember, guys, radius is always the distance from the center of the circle to the outer edge. What does that mean? That means that our radius is not 10, it's 10 plus 8. Okay? Anyways, plus the outer radius now. Now that we know, this one, we can just say it's 30, as we stated earlier, because remember, now we're looking at this radius. So 2 pi radius, which is 30. And this should give us our answer. Okay? But the question states the expression of it. And the expression of it would be like this. And let's see if we can find that from the examples A, B, C, D, or E. And you'll find that we can't find it. Why? Surely this is right. And it is. But what are we missing? We're missing factorization. Okay, guys, so let me explain what factorization is. If we have, I'm going to give you an example, just so you guys can understand. If we have 2 times, bracket, 3 plus 3, You guys tell me if this is equal to 2 times 6. It is, right? And they're both equal to 12, right? But what else can we do here? If we were to say then that this is the case, then we can say that expansion, guys, I don't know if you guys have learned the rule of expansion, but whenever we expand a bracket, we have to multiply whatever's outside to both terms on the inside bracket. So if I have 2 on the outside, then this bracket expanded is actually going to be 2 times 3 plus 2 times 3. Okay? And you guys work that out. That's also 12 as well. So we can say that all these 4 things are equal. So using this identity, right, I can actually say, use this. And this is in the same format as this equation right here, because we have a common number or common term here, which is 2 pi. And actually, I can convert that to 2 on the outside and bracket 3 plus 3. Or, in other words, I can make sure that this becomes 2 pi, big bracket, 8 pi plus 18 pi plus 30 pi. Okay? Oh, not pi. Oops. No pi, no pi, no pi. So let me reiterate that again. I can say that this is the same thing as 2 pi, big bracket, plus 18 plus 30. Okay? And why? Because look at this example again. If 2 times 3 plus 2 times 3 is the same thing as 2 bracket 3 plus 3, because I pulled the common one outside and had the remaining 3's add with themselves, right? 3 and 3 add with themselves, I actually get the same term. So I did that here. Because 2 pi was a common term, I pulled that out and instead just added 8 with 18 with 30. Okay? So if this doesn't make sense, take your time to try solve this by yourself. And if you don't, ask your teacher as well. So 8 plus 18 is 26. 26 plus 30 is 56. So in net, we have option D. We don't actually have to work this out because the options are an expression. So we have option D as our answer. Okay? Let's move on. Question 3, reading graphs. So 3 schools A, B, and C are selling chocolate bars as part of the school region's fundraising effort. Which school sold the most bars in week 1 and week 3 together? So for this one, we have a look at the key. Okay? Always look at the key. Okay, and after looking at the key, we realize that, in the first week and the third week, we have B on the top, and in the third week, all 3 are the same. All are the same. Okay, if all are the same, and in week 1, B sold the most, then in total, guys, in week 1 and week 3 together, we have option B, selling the most. And that's why we immediately circle B. This shouldn't have been too difficult, as long as you read the graph. Okay, let's have a look at question number 4, costs. And here we are back to simultaneous equations, okay? I'm going to write it again, simultaneous equations. So let's have a look. 5 crayons and 2 packets of pencils cost $29.75. How much does a packet of pencils cost if 2 crayons and 1 packet costs $13.20? So we're trying to find 1 packet of pencils. Or in other words, I'm going to let pencils be P, and I'm going to let crayons be C. Okay, so always when we're starting with simultaneous equation, make sure you know what your terms mean. I'm just going to establish it like that, and you guys should write it down like that as well. So after we've done that, let's have a look at the question of 5C or 5 crayons and 2 packets or 2 P's costs how much? $20.75. Next, we have 2 crayons and 1 packet, or just P, equals to 1320. Okay, and again, I don't know if you guys remember, from last time, I'm going to label this option A and option B. Now, what did we do next? We had to find a common term between these two options in order so that I can cancel one of the terms and find out a separate, find out one term. And in this second, I'm going to use P as my thing, as what I'm going to cancel out. Why? Because I can easily make P into 2P. How? I times option B by 2. And let's do that together. If I times option B by 2, remember I have to do the whole thing. 2C times 2 is 4C, plus what's P times 2 is 2P, like we wanted. And what's $13.20 times 2? That's $26.40. Okay? And now that we've got this, let's label this option C now, because it's different. Okay. Now that we have 4C plus 2P is 26.40, we can do option A minus option C. Why did I do that? Let's see. So if 5C minus 4C, what's that? 5C minus 4C is 1C, plus, what's 2P? Remember, we're looking at option A and C. What's 2P minus 2P? It's 0, right? Equals to, what's 29.75 minus 26.40? It's $3.35. So instantly we've found C, guys. Okay, by making one of the terms the same, by subtracting both of the options, we get one term. Okay, so and we find out that's $3.35. Now let's substitute this knowledge into B again. Sub into B, and again I could have chosen A, but I chose B this time because it looks easier, because I only have to sub in 2C. So what is 2C? Let's work this out here. 2C plus P is 13.20. Then we know what C is. It's $3.35. 2 times $3.35 plus P is equal to $13.20. Okay, then that means $6.70 plus P equals to $13.20. That means what? Therefore, P is equal to, what's $13.20 minus $6.70? We do $13.20 minus $6.70. We get $6.50. Okay, and therefore we establish that P equals to $6.50, or one packet of pencils cost $6.50. Okay, option E. Question number 5, factorials. Now, this is an interesting term, because you guys will see this later, but this term, or exclamation mark as you might read it, is actually called a factorial. So I'm going to say exclamation mark. And what does this mean? Well, if I have a number called 8 and I say 8 factorial, I multiply every number that's before it. Okay, so all the way to 1, including itself. Okay, so if I have 2 factorial, it'll be 2 times 1. If I have 3 factorial, it's going to be 3 times 2 times 1. If I have 4 factorial, it's going to be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and so on in that order. So here we have the question: 7 factorial times 4 factorial over 8 factorial. This looks increasingly difficult as we go, doesn't it? Now, don't be scared, because essentially this is what it looks like. On the top, it's going to be 7 times 6 times 5 times blah 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 blah, all the way times 2 times 1, right? For 7 factorial. This times, okay, this is 7 factorial, remember? What's 4 factorial? It's given 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That's our 4 factorial. How about 8 factorial at the bottom? 8 factorial, or it's the same as 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times, and then blah 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 blah, times 2 times 1. But here, you guys should be able to notice that 7 factorial, or 7 times 6 times blah 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 blah, is also displayed here. Can you guys see that? These two are the same terms. It's going to equal the same thing, right? We don't have to work it out to know that these two are going to be the same. So in fact, we can actually just cancel top and bottom, right? It's like saying if I had 6 times 4 over 6 times 8, I can cancel these 6's out and I'll be left with 4 over 8, which is a half, right? Same concept, right? So I cancel these out. What am I left with? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, or 4 factorial over 8. And that becomes a lot simpler to work out, doesn't it? And that's going to be 24 over 8, which is the same thing as 3, which is option D. Okay? So that's why we circle D. Alright guys, let's go through the key points from this test. So point number 1, factorizing involves a common term. And I draw this from our second question, where we needed a common term such as 2 in this option to draw out to make this sort of equation, right? 2 bracket 3 plus 3. In the same way, in the actual question, our common term was 2 pi, wasn't it? And we drew 2 pi out, put big brackets around next to it, and put all the other numbers, which was 8, 18, and 30 inside, and added it all together, right? So that was that for factorization. Point number 2, use simultaneous equation. We used it in question 4 and question 1. So let me just go over the steps again. Step number 1, we find the 2 options that we are given. Step number 2, we find or we make the common term. And in this question, our common term was 12D. Excuse me. And from this common term, we subtract these 2 options to find one term, which was 7C, and 7C equals 10 kilograms. We substituted it back into our options, A or B, doesn't matter, to find our other term, which was D. Okay, and correspondingly find the answer to that as well. So let's look at the next point. Factorial means multiplying all the numbers below, including itself as well. So what I mean by that is 8 factorial means 8 times, 7 times, 6 times, and all the numbers correspondingly below that. And yeah guys, that was it, and I hope you guys learned something from this test. Until next time.